Hi, everyone. It's me. I just wanted to come on. The angels wanted me to come on and talk about narcissism. And I've been watching a few things online about narcissism, and the angels want me to make some comments about it. Um, there was, and I'm not going to say who posted it, but there was someone who posted a uh, a video on narcissism and how narcissists are going to hell. Um, God and the angels say that there is no hell except for the hell we create for ourselves. If you honestly believe in hell, then yes, you will go to where you believe you will go. But if you believe that you will go to heaven or back to source, then that's where you will be going. So they want me to explain a little bit. First of all, narcissists are kind of a different, they're of a different soul, okay? So let's think of this as a soul machine, all right? So we have number one, these souls are air particles, dirt, rocks, things such as that, okay? We have soul machine number two. This is for flowers and plants and insects and things such as that. This is number three. This is for animals of all shapes, sizes, forms, birds, uh, aquatic animals. If it's an animal, it has a number three soul. And number four is the narcissist. And the narcissist soul is created special. And I will get into that, okay? And number five is the um, empathic or more evolved soul, okay? Now, before we come down here to Earth, we determine our life plan and we write out our scripts. And many of us, especially those of us who are light workers, have uh, specific goals in mind that we want to meet. And in order to meet those goals, we have set some very difficult life plans for ourselves. Myself, I chose to come to a family, to be born to a family where the mother was narcissistic and the father was passive. And when we were writing out my life plan, my now mother and father signed this contract to play these parts to help me along my pathway. And all narcissists sign these contracts with those that they love to help them along their pathway. If all of our life plans were all positive and no polarity, we wouldn't learn very much. So it takes a soul that loves us very dearly to sign this contract and come down here and help us to learn the lessons that we have decided that we need to learn. And they will not be able to go into the fifth dimension. They will be going back to source if they don't take on some crazy idea that they have to go to hell. They don't have to go to hell. They can go back to source. They cannot go to the fifth dimension because their soul is not equipped to deal with it. And those of us who are light workers who have come here to go into the fifth dimension could not do that without the assistance of the narcissistic souls. Another thing that the angels and God have told me is that there's about 60% of the human race, about 60% of them are narcissists, and about 40% are empaths, or those who definitely have the ability to move forward into the fifth dimension. So, yeah, they are intentionally coming down here just to help to propel us forward. So we need to be grateful to them and be thankful that they're here. You may not be so grateful when you're in the middle of being abused and neglected and gaslighted and mistreated and feeling horrible and terrible because of something they've done again. But when you can rise above that, and you probably will, you will realize that they actually love you and we're here to help you, and that they stick around as long as they are needed in your life. Setting boundaries and putting your foot down with narcissists is a very important part of what we need to do, the work that we have to do here, and learning to trust ourselves and believe in ourselves. We may not be able to get to that. In fact, we probably wouldn't if we didn't have a narcissist trying to push us in the opposite direction. I grew up, like I said, with a mother who was a narcissist. And I have never hated her. I've never, I've occasionally been quite angry with her, but I've never hated her. And she really taught me some very strong lessons. Now, I have had the narcissistic mother, a few narcissistic husbands, lots of narcissistic friends. I'm 63 years old. I am a reverend who is very introspective and has counseled a lot of people through narcissistic survivalism, I guess we'll call it. And one thing that I find happening a lot with narcissists, in fact, it's at the core of their soul. They are, let's see, how can I say this? They work from a very selfish core, but they generally don't really think very highly of themselves, and they work from emotion rather than true intellect. And they are very imbalanced within themselves. If they are not on top and feeling very good about themselves, then they have to find a way to turn that around and make sure that they're on top again. And in doing that, quite often, they do that through manipulation, lies, gaslighting, and abusing and hurting others. A lot of the narcissists aren't even aware that it comes from a place of need, and they don't even understand themselves. And they're incapable of true introspection. So they can't really, understand where these things are coming from, but it's fear-based. And when they start feeling that they're inadequate or not matching up to others, then they have to make sure that they put themselves on top. And they're always worried about what certain other people will think, but especially what they themselves think of themselves. Some people say they feel entitled. In a sense, they do, but I don't know if I'd really call it entitled as much as afraid that they, aren't on the top. And they always have to be on top. So if they're on top, they're going to have people waiting on them. They're going to have people doing for them. They are not going to be, cleaning up after themselves or doing for themselves. They're going to be acting very entitled because they see other people. Well, not only do they see other people and think that those people should be emulated and put on high. My daughter was a major narcissist, and she hated me because she saw me as weak. I have a loving, kind, caring soul. And when people would abuse me or mistreat me, I wouldn't fight back. I would just walk away. And my daughter thought that I was a pushover and that I was weak. And she never respected me for that. And she could never see that I actually was very strong and very self-sufficient. But that was something she couldn't see, and something that most narcissists cannot see. So, in the fact that they see us as weak, it's easy for them to be condescending and picking us apart and trying to keep us down. And we empaths don't want to fight, so we're seen as weak. And the more they abuse us, the more we just step away or step aside or, don't want to have anything to do with that. So I still have a couple of narcissists in my life by choice. But I understand them, and I have very strict boundaries, excuse me, when it comes to my relationships with them. And as they start, as you've been together a long time and you start putting down your boundaries and you make it very clear that, you love them unconditionally and you want what's best for them, but you will not play their games. Don't argue with them. Don't fight with them. If they do something to you that is underhanded, gaslighting, nasty, confront them face to face. And I know a lot of people tell you don't do that. But I do it. And either they're going to throw a fit and, tell you to go peddle your papers elsewhere, um, or they will say, okay, I don't agree with you. I don't like this. I think you're wrong, but we'll work through it. And I don't know if they really have the capacity to love, but they do have the capacity to realize that you are good to them and other people are not, that you will work with them and other people will not, that if they move on to someone else, that, it's just going to be constant fighting and who knows how it's going to work out. Where those narcissists who stay in my life know that I'm not going to take any crazy crap, but I will love them, I will care about them, and I will work with them. So, there are a lot of people who aren't in a place that they can work with a narcissist, and those people need to get out. They need to move on, and they need to find their strength and um, build themselves up. But don't do it at the expense of the narcissist. Because, as I said, the narcissist is here to help us. They may be cruel and very, very difficult to live and deal with, but they serve a very important purpose. And at the very worst, you should pick up and walk away and never look back. And you should only stay with a narcissist if you are strong enough in your own skin to set your boundaries and be clear on what you will allow and what you will not allow, and to offer them a safe harbor, because their life is a storm. They can't get away from who they are, and they will always be that. And sometimes they need a safe place to go. So just a little food for thought. And like I said, God and the angels say, no, they are not going to hell. Even though some people might think they should, they're not going to hell. They will go back to source as long as they believe that. If they believe they're going to hell, then sadly they will go to hell. So I hope that I made some sense of all of this for you. Blessings, love, light. Namaste. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.